Health by far is the most important area of our life. Without our health, we can have all the money in the world, the best career, the best relationships, the most fun hobbies, and we won't be able to enjoy any of them because our health is miserable. But even though we might know intellectually that our health is important, when it comes to how we spend our time, it's often the first thing that goes. Work and life gets busy, and the first thing we do is we stop sleeping properly. We stop eating well. We stop exercising because who's got time for those things? Now, as a sports scientist doctor, I have been reading a bunch of books about health, working with an online health coach, and interviewing a bunch of experts in my Farsi podcast all about physical health and mental health and even emotional health. But a lot of the stuff that I have learned can be pretty dense. So I have been trying my best to translate the things that I have learned into simple, actionable hacks that can easily integrate into my life, so that the important aspects of my life, which is health, are on autopilot, so I don't have to think about it hard. And so in this video, I want to share 6 of these health hacks that have improved my life, and I hope you will find something to take away from this that you can apply to your life as well. Now, according to the CDC, 1 in 3 adults in US report not getting enough sleep and not getting enough rest in the day. I suspect the actual number is higher than this because I very rarely meet people who feel as if they are getting enough sleep. Now, one simple hack that I found for improving my sleep, and it's very easy to do, is the wind down. The concept behind it is that you should consider your sleeping as a task. When you want to sleep, you should have a simple routine to make sure you can do the task easily. For me, it starts with listening to light and calm music and write down the things that I have done in the day and the things that I need to do tomorrow. This can help me to throw out all the thoughts and challenges that I need to deal with tomorrow. Then I will start doing some simple stretching for my back. For those of you who don't know me, I did struggle with really difficult back pain back in 2018. Anyway, I do some simple stretches to relax my body and muscles from the whole day's work, and the combination of music and stretching can prepare me for a good night's sleep. And at the end, I will make sure that the room is dark, cold, and quiet. A study shows that having a dark, quiet, and cold room temperature can help you sleep better during the night and increase your sleep quality. This graph from July 2023 shows how many steps on average I was taking each month. And you can see over here, this is my average steps for the whole year, which is about 9,000 steps, which is quite good. As you might have heard, taking 10,000 steps plus a day is generally a very good thing. This meta-analysis of 15 studies, for example, show that taking more steps per day was associated with a progressively lower risk of all-cause mortality. This study showed that in sedentary overweight individuals, 10,000 steps a day significantly lowered anxiety, depression, anger, fatigue, confusion, and total mood. And this study, for example, showed that for every 500 steps you increase per day, the risk of cardiovascular diseases decreases by about 6%. And so what I have tried to do is add as many simple hacks to my life to get that 10,000 steps a day. So firstly, the single best thing that I found for this is actually to go for a walk after each meal. It is a simple but effective method. Even if you are working in an office or you have a corporate job, what you can do is after each meal, just stand up and go for a few minutes walk. Or if you need to contact your colleague, instead of sending them an email, just go to their desk and talk. This is automatically increase your steps during the day. The second thing that helped me was whenever I want to talk with someone on the phone or I have a meeting, I use this time to walk around the neighborhood. It gives me more energy during the meeting and talk, and also I can add my steps during the day. And the last thing I do is that if I have to go somewhere for dinner or something and it is with 30 minutes of where I live, I will often choose to walk rather than drive or take a train. And usually while I'm walking, I will listen to a podcast or something. These things during the day can help me to reach around 10,000 steps a day. I use an Apple Watch to track my steps, but any phone these days has a step counter in it and you can use your phone. So if you have your phone in your pocket, you can see how many steps you have done. If you are watching this video, you probably have a job where you sit down all day and you have heard that before, sitting is a new smoking. And they have done so many studies about this, where basically they show that physical inactivity is this golden bullet that just increases your risk of dying from all sorts of bad things. So my suggestion, if you can afford it, buy a smartwatch or an old step counter that you can put it in your pocket. First of all, it's more accurate, and secondly, you are not worried about carrying your phone all the time. Sometimes I want to go for a walk after a meet and I don't want to carry my phone. Then I know that this smartwatch will count my steps and I'm not going to miss any important calls or message as well. So if you can afford it, buy a smartwatch, totally worth it. And if you have a smartwatch, please write down in the comment section which brand is that and if you're using it on a daily basis or not. It would be fun to know how you're tracking your steps. This is a hack that I have been recommending to literally all of my patients and friends, and about half of them have done it and they have said, oh my god, this was game changing. And that is to do a full body analysis exam. It can be done by DEXA scan or in-body analysis or any proper measurement or valid measurement machine out there. Just make sure it has been validated before. If you don't know what DEXA scan is, in simple words, DEXA scan is basically a full body X-ray, and in clinics we use DEXA scan to measure the bone density of patients who might have osteoporosis. But the really cool thing about a DEXA scan is that it can tell you how much muscle you have and also how much fat you have, and also distributing of the muscle and the fat around your body. First thing to say is that they are somewhat expensive. Well, it's around 150 euro to get a DEXA scan depending on where you go. I personally think that is absolutely worth it. But the amount of information that you will get from this scan is amazing, and also if it changes your behavior, will pay dividends further down the line. But again, as I said in many videos, please do not complicate things. If you do have access to DEXA scan or you don't want to pay 150 euro for it, the normal body analysis exam such as InBody or Tanita is good enough to show you exactly how much muscle, fat and water you have in your body. After you got this test, the results will show you where your body fat is, and you might think that you are pretty skinny and healthy. Like I thought, I was pretty healthy and in shape because I work out 3 times a week and I eat pretty healthy. But it turns out I am borderline of having a high fat percentage. I'm around 25%. And the most important one was the visceral fat, which is the fat deep inside of your body surrounding your organs and heart, which can disturb the organ's performance. Just imagine that your heart is beating and that's the fat around it. It doesn't let the heart beat properly, and that might cause you problem down the road, and it can increase the chance of cardiovascular diseases, strokes, diabetes, and all the bad things that can happen later in life. So what I do now is I will do a full body analysis every 3 months to see what I have done, how's my condition, and what area should I improve. Should I focus more on my cardio, or should I focus more on muscle strength and mobility? This tracking progress also gives me motivation to track my workout and diet as well. For example, in the last result that I had, I found that I still have a problem with visceral fat and I need to work on it. So I started doing cardio a couple of times a week, and also I do take care of my diet right now. So to avoid unhealthy food, even though I'm eating pretty healthy, but snacks wise, I cannot resist eating them. But now I have the goal to drop the fat, so I can control myself more and more. These days, you kind of find great ideas and recommendations to be healthy and lose weight or gain weight on YouTube and social media. And most of them are about having enough protein during the day. I have been tracking my macros for the past few years using the MyFitnessPal app, and I was struggling to hit my protein intake every day. What I have realized is that I need to automate my protein intake. Now, the amount of protein you need depends massively on who you are and what you do and who you're asking. The World Health Organization, for example, says you need 0.83 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. But most experts that I have spoken to say that that is nowhere near enough to actually build muscle. If you're trying to build muscle, and I kind of agree with them too, it's not that enough. So for me, I'm roughly aiming around 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of my body weight, and this is actually annoyingly hard to get in my diet because I tend to skip breakfast all the time, and even if I have breakfast, it's not gonna be a high protein one. And then lunch and dinner, it's like I have to actually think about protein. But one thing that I start to do to automate my protein intake is really simple. It's basically to just have a protein shake in the morning, and when I have a protein shake in the morning, I get at least 40 or 50 per gram of protein depending on which product I use. And now it's a way easier for me to hit my target during the day. And if I just have like 50 grams serving of protein for lunch and another 50 grams for dinner, it's like having 150 grams. That's pretty reasonable for me. I'm using the Optimum Nutrition Gold standard protein powder for almost 5 years, and I'm pretty happy about it. Since I started automating my protein and shake by literally just having a shake first thing in the morning, I have actually been hitting my protein goals broadly, and I have seen that reflected in my body analysis result as well. Next is that idea of flexibility and mobility. Now, I'm not at all flexible and I'm not mobile at all as well. And also, as I told you, I have a struggle with really bad back pain back in 2017-18, and I was in a really bad shape. I was in bed for 6 months, and maybe I should have created a video about that to explain what happened. But long story short, because of my back pain injury and my unflexible body and mobile body, I have been always struggling with flexibility and mobility. And there have been some pretty reasonable studies that shows that if you do have a baseline level of flexibility and mobility, it helps reduce the risk of injury when you're exercising, which is really good thing. For example, this meta-analysis found that the benefit of stretching in middle age to older adults reduce arterial stiffness, heart rate, and blood pressure, and improve vascular function. So stretching is good for middle age to older adults. It's probably good for younger adults as well. Now, I have tried so many ways to incorporate stretching into my life, but 2 of them have so far worked. The first thing is, after a few research and tests, I come up with a few stretches which is simple and I can do it everywhere. And I put it in my daily to-do list. So during the day, whenever I have free time, either I wait for a patient or waiting for some result, I do some stretching here and there, and I mark it as done in my to-do list. And second, I'm listening to a meditation or mindfulness track before sleep, and I do around 10 to 20 minutes static stretching to remove some stress, and also it is a good way to wind down and prepare to sleep. It helps me to stop scrolling on Instagram, and also I found that I can sleep better when I do some static stretching before sleep. It might be the placebo effect, who knows, but it works for me. So the last hack is this pill boxes. So I used to really struggle with actually being consistent with taking my pills. And I take a couple of supplements. I take the vitamin B6 and B12 for my sciatica, which is really, really important. And if you have a nerve pain or nerve problem, I really recommend that using it. But I would be always really inconsistent in taking these pills because it wasn't built into my routine. Until I realized that, that when patients cannot take their pills constantly, the doctor would give these pill boxes to them, so it would help them to take their pills. So I just thought one day I'm just gonna buy one of them from Amazon. So I bought this one, and it's really good. It has different days on it, and then during the day and during the night that you need to take it, and it helped me a lot to stay consistent with taking my supplements. So I highly recommend that taking or buying one of these pill boxes, which is really, really easy and really cheap, and it's going to boost your pill taking supplements process. Hope you start implementing some of these hacks in your life, and please do let me know in the comment if you have any other hacks that helped you in this process. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.